Dear friends, this is going to be a special edition of the Twin Flame videos. We are invited to talk with Mary Magdalene, the twin flame of Joshua ben Joseph, the famous couple, Jesus and Mary. And Mary Magdalene means Mary of the place geographically of Magdala. She specifically wants to talk through me. I never expected that because I wasn't necessarily busy with that. Things come up, some things don't. I'm not forcing anything. This is not artificial marketing. I was surprised about that. And I could imagine what she wants me to talk about twin flames. But I also don't know. So we're going to see what will come through. And I did prepare a whole bunch of oracle card decks to help me get her message across. So let's start with the Mary Magdalene Oracle deck, which sounds logic, isn't it? Oh, well, one flipped over. So I think we're going to talk about that one first. She is from the soul family. This card is the family tree of the Christed soul family. Mary and Jesus, or Jeshua, or however you want to call them. I don't want to make a statement in this video about their names or anything. It just came up a little bit in the beginning, but yeah, I don't necessarily want to make a whole statement or whatever, what have you, about that, why I say it like that, or that it can also be said in another way. I think we all know who we talk about, so that's, I guess, enough, right? I don't want to make it complicated in that sense at all. But they are from the Christed soul family. They are very well known, but that doesn't mean that there are more of their soul family members. Well, some are also very famous, like Buddha, Krishna, and they all also have a twin flame. Kind of logic, isn't it? Most incarnate with two expressions coming from their spirit blueprint on earth that are complementary, a divine feminine and a divine masculine expression. Some have a third expression, which would be then their child. Some people come on the earth with all expressions, so to speak, inside one body. That happens too. And I've seen that in my working practice, indeed. But these are very rare cases. Most people come with two expressions here on earth. So all these other soul family members of the Christed soul family, they also have a twin flame, right? Jesus and Mary are very famous, and they are here just like the other people of their soul family member, having this specific purpose of their eternal life to acknowledge for you and educate you about the idea of the Christ as the idea of the higher self that we're all a part of, or however you want to call it. The name doesn't matter. It's an organic part of the architecture of what you are as human being. And they're all here to point you towards that and to give you new pointers for new times, so that certain people in certain cultures will become knowledgeable about that and will reach that in the sense of making that come true for themselves, that is going to be their consciousness that they're operating from and in. And Mary and Jesus, as a twin flame pair, were also within that purpose. And they worked like that, and it was their mission. But it was also their life, which also happens for every one of you. Everyone is a twin flame and has a purpose and lives a life that is about that and has work that expresses that. That is actually a mission. That's for everyone the same. But they have the specific purpose to point to everyone's higher self, the Christ, Krishna consciousness. However you want to call it, doesn't matter. The seed of union with the divine in your heart of hearts. And bringing that to a full living it, in which you're grown up inside of that, and then you're living as the Christ, or as however you want to call it. Well, let's call it, I'm going to live as a fully awakened part of my union, which is the union is within the divine, right? That's what that means, the word union. It means that you are one with the divine in that place where you are a twin flame. That's where you're now going to live. That's what you're now going to express in everything that you do, always. It means Jesus and Mary were pointing to that place in the architecture of your makeup as a human being, in which you are spirit, in which you are in union with the divine, in which you are the blueprint that you are, which is being a twin flame. They point to that place, which is, what all whole religions are built around. All big world religions are built around. Because it's this place in which we are a twin flame, that we are spirit, that we are union, that we are the union with the divine. And that is a place worth venerating. It's a place that is sacred. So it's not surprising that all kinds of religions are built around that idea. Well, all religions that we currently know in the world, or most, have forgotten mostly the idea that you're a twin flame in that place. For general knowledge, right? But at the core of that is of course so. It's nothing special. It's just what that is, and everyone that goes deep with themselves and actually comes in an actual union with the divine in an alive way will get to know that. It is not so strange that from the couple, Mary and Jesus, through the ages, Jesus has been, in a certain way, the most famous, right? Well, most certainly, actually. Jesus is world famous. In multiple religions, also. It's not so strange. When you look at that time, of course, it was the male that was more apt to act in a societal way, which didn't necessarily mean that the women didn't exist or didn't deserve to exist or what have you, but that was, of course, culturally much more the case. but also without the cultural and historical elements. It's not so strange that the divine masculine of a twin flame union is the first one that sort of encounters society and the social world, creates more of the bigger structures in which this beautiful love can thrive and wisdom can come to bloom. Within that structure, the divine feminine can indeed come to bloom, be everything that she is, and give her wisdom that will just leak out of her like the light out of the sun, or how the fruit comes out of the tree. Mary Magdalene was that, and of course there are all kinds of stories about how Jesus and Mary interacted, and they might be true or not really true or partially true or what have you. In the core of things, Mary Magdalene and Jesus had a union. And of course, they also had a process of coming into their union together. And they had a process of savoring their union, etc., etc. Just like all of us will eventually do in your twin flame union. That's what that is, folks. And within their union, they had at the central place between them their teachership. That's where their teachership resided. Mary Magdalene was, of course, an equal part of that. She was partaking in that just as Jesus was. There's no other way when you speak about a twin flame union. Even though, again, there can be a differentiation in who of the expressions of this twin flame union is coming forward as the one that is seen as the teacher or acting as the teacher in a practical sense. That can differ. It's really not necessarily misogynistic or historically and culturally organized. Not necessarily. I think just in general is what I mean to say. In my union, I am the teacher. I'm seen as the teacher. And that's, as far as I know, always been the case. Also in other lifetimes is what I mean, as far as I can remember. Even though we're also teaching together. I'm just trying to give an example to make this point, to give you an understanding of what we're talking about here. But of course, Mary Magdalene was a teacher in her own right, as part of the union, and on her own. There's no way she could have not been that. Otherwise, she would not have been the twin flame of Jeshua or Jesus. Let's get another card from the Mary Magdalene Oracle. I need to translate the name. I know what it is, but now I need to find the English word. The resurrection. Mary Magdalene says she was part of the resurrection. Because the resurrection has become famous through stories, through the history of Christianity, of the resurrection of Jesus after he died on the cross as punishment, a death sentence from the Roman leaders that didn't like having this teacher around that was rallying up all kinds of people. Or that's how they saw it. So that is the story. Jesus died and then he rose again, the resurrection. That's the story. I'm just trying to indicate the story now. And Mary Magdalene says, I was part of the resurrection. And that is because the story is incorrect. Who knows he died and who knows he did not actually, which is for all of us true. Because your core, where you're one with the divine, where you're a soul, you're eternal, where you are a twin flame, where you're connected in spirit and are a twin flame, you don't die. Simple logic. But that's not even what it refers to, what I tried to say. Mary Magdalene was part of the resurrection because the story is wrong. The place of where the resurrection took place in the entire build-up of the story must necessarily, logically, when you look at what happens when you go in the spiritual development of reaching union and coming into your harmonious twin flame union with your true twin flame to start your mission, it must have happened, the resurrection, as an inner movement. That means that the divine mind inside yourself is resurrected in the union space, in the place where you're the Son of God, in the place where your higher self is, in the place where Christ consciousness is. Your divine mind or your soul, however you want to call it, I don't necessarily feel the need to fight about terminologies. There are different ones around for different occasions and different spiritualities and whatnot. And what I'm actually always talking about is the foundation underneath them all, provided that you understand that I do have a teaching myself. It is published, so it's open. You can read it, right? It's not secret. The resurrection means that you resurrect yourself on the twin flame journey, on the spiritual journey. You resurrect your inner self to stand up and remember that you are a part of God. That your higher self is falling into place again. That's the resurrection that we're talking about. That's the only resurrection that is spiritually, which means fundamentally, a true thing that is very logical, observable. Everyone go through that on any spiritual development, which is a true spiritual development, not a TikTok spiritual development. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I could go on TikTok and we could have true spiritual development on TikTok. I mean, I understand that. But I also think you get a sense of what I meant there. True spiritual development comprises that resurrection of the mind. Otherwise, I don't know, maybe you did something, but it didn't really lead to actual spiritual development or like the goal of it, right? So let's call it the divine mind resurrects itself. That's the resurrection. And that necessarily happens before you become a full-fledged teacher, attract your students as a matter of magnetism, law of attraction, do your public teaching, and perhaps retire so that your students can now take over and pass on the light. These are movements that spiritual teachers make. These are movements that unions that our spiritual teachers at the core of their union make. These are general movements of true spiritual development on the twin flame level. The resurrection necessarily happens before you mature in your teachership and attract your students. Do your public teaching and perhaps retire so that your students can spread the light on their own accord. That's what happens when you talk about this true spiritual teacher, which Mary and Jesus were. So Mary says, the resurrection, I was necessarily a natural part of that, because that is our union that came into being in harmonious union. We got to this mutual understanding and in our hearts with God. And that was the resurrection of our shared twin flame mind in the mind of God, which is a thing that falls in each other indeed, inside each other. Mary Magdalene was part of the resurrection because it can't be anything different. When you have one twin flame coming into the healing of their mind in divine light, the other will also. Well, maybe, perhaps, in like the slowness of our human vessel, it can be a little bit of a lag, how much someone acts upon that or what have you, can happen. But in truth, it's the same time, they're the same person. They're the same union. So this is very much the logic behind the wisdom and love of Mary Magdalene. She shows me something. There is a certain feeling of that she came from this humble place and wasn't necessarily looking for something lofty, but she was called by this love in the heart, in her heart of hearts. And that's what started to bring her forward and take her in and guide her. And yes, she came together with her true twin flame. And yes, the divine mind resurrected in her. And yes, that was in her just as much as in Jesus or Joshua. That makes her just as much the teacher in how much she was inside of that union. She was called forward as this secret heart of a true teacher, of the inner softness of a true teacher. And it's not secret as in that nobody was allowed to know, but it was as in esoteric or as in inner knowledge. And as in the embodiment of it. And as the generator of it. And she shows me how she was in that sense the giver to Jesus so that he could be the teacher that he came out to be. No matter what the outside may have looked like, which is also largely not per se known in our time here. So she also embodied everything in her own, on her own, in herself, that Jesus also embodied in another way. Jesus could give her names for the processes that were happening in her secret garden, in her energy body. She started to understand her own calling from her heart forward better through it. And by being such a receptive vessel for Jesus' teachings, she made Jesus into what he could be in everything that he could be for all the other people. And this process made her also what she was. From this deep calling forward from the heart of her heart, that she autonomously had listened to and was sharing from. She shows me this pile of cards that are spiritual messages. Let's see what comes through here. I think this one. This is funny. When you want to sin, just enjoy it and then take full responsibility for the eventual results. This is translated from the Dutch. So what are you trying to tell me with this? I think the first thing that comes to mind, what she wants to tell me with this is that, well, sin isn't what people think it is. People associate Mary and Jesus with Christianity, and then they associate, but they were just a freestanding autonomous teacher, of course, pointing towards the eternal truth of the Christ mind, or however you want to call it, which is their function. And when people think about Christianity, they think about, oh, sin. Sin is important. You're not supposed to do these kinds of actions and think about these kinds of things, and that's all very important. And if you behave right, then you've done it right in relationship with God. Then you've passed the test. And I don't know what. You will, maybe the idea could be you go to union, or however you want to call it. But that doesn't necessarily work. And that's because Mary Magdalene says that sin is not what people think it is. Sin means that you've missed the mark of coming into union with the divine, and therefore also find your inner holiness in your union with the both expressions that you are, divine feminine and divine masculine, for the very, 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 very most people. So you missed the mark. That's what sin is. And you can hit the mark by doing the journey, by coming into Christ consciousness, by coming into union, by acknowledging who your true twin flame is, choosing to be with them too. Great idea. That's what we do nowadays. But that doesn't come into being from restricting your behavior. At least not only. And it does mean that you are going to be in the fullness of being human. And that includes your body on earth and its needs and wishes and its beauty. So if you would like to do beautiful things in the body that gives you a good feeling, then please do it. There's nothing wrong with that. You can still be a twin flame. You can still be in union. You can still be on the true spiritual journey to your place inside the heaven that is made by the one God. Just know that if you are doing this and it has certain results, then you're just responsible for that. That's all. I like that. So is that something important to you, Mary? Yeah, she says yes, because people are too much busy with their outside things, behavior, and they miss that secret inner connection that it is all about. It's not secret in the sense that nobody's allowed to know it, but secret in the sense of it's your inner connection that we're talking about. That's important. That's what you need to repair. And when you are in the having been repaired that, which is the definition of union, all kinds of things can happen there. You can have beautiful, pleasurable experiences. You can have the need to not kill your brother. They have, both have their places. To only look at restrictions of behavior is like primary school for spiritual people. University is a long way ahead of that. Which then also doesn't mean that it never plays any role. Everyone needs to go somehow through the primary school someday and learn what you learn there as well in the divine light. Sure. But it is all about repairing your inner connection. When your inner connection is repaired, well, yes, you're in union, but you also will see that that is what every religion and spirituality was always about. And that's now clarified for you. It has come true for you. So should you be religious, you have made come true what that religion is about. And then you can be shunned because you have made come true what their religion is about. And people don't understand you anymore. Yeah, she says, yes, that's true. But first repair that connection. That's what it is about. That's what it is about. That is the whole teaching. Thank you. Wow. Why do you want me to speak about this in a public video? I'm asking her that now. Because it is important, the time is ripe for people to know and to understand the integrity of all these aspects. Deep inner esoteric spirituality and religion and twin flames and well-known teachers and their own role, because they are themselves what these well-known teachers only exemplify so that you can do it for yourself. And the time is ripe that people understand better what all these things are. And that it is about the secret gifts of being human, the overflowing abundance of what it means to be a connected union expression. And she keeps on saying this, the word secret, because I guess that's the only way to say it, but she means interconnected. Okay. No, this is again the Mary Magdalene Oracle card deck. Is this right? What do we need to talk about? Enlightenment. That's where it all leads to. It's time that people start to live in the light. But not an ego light or an artificial light or a fantasized light or the light of, oh, I've always seen the political world stage in a certain way, and now I suddenly see the dark sides too. And I understand that Satanism is here too, and not only Christianity, and it's everywhere. Now I'm enlightened. No, you're not. You've just seen the darkness instead of only the ego light, and you've now a more complete scope of everything, which is good. But the enlightenment that we're talking about is about this secret inner connection. That is not about outer veneration of good, quote unquote, and light, quote unquote, things, as opposed to dark, quote unquote, and satanistic, quote unquote, things. This enlightenment that we're talking about comes through the source of sources and is more foundational than such a dichotomy. It's not good nor bad. It's dark nor light. It is the enlightenment, the original light of the true spiritual sun, and how that moves through as you as a human being, and the architecture that is, which is being a twin flame. And it is time that people start to understand that that is their natural birthright, to have that all be present here now. Because they are always the soul. They are their eternal dimension. This is the enlightenment that is here for you. But you've got to want it. You've got to claim it. You've got to do the inner work. You got to do the tools. You got to do the connecting with the inner love, which in that movement of connecting with it has a turnaround inside of it. Because it is not that dark place nor the light place, it is further. It's the source of both. And that is a turned around way of thinking than what we always think. We think, oh, the light is it, right? But now you've called in the darkness too. Dichotomy. We're talking about union, a unionized life and living. It's further than that. It's the source of that, which asks you a turnaround of all of that. Always in everything. All the time, in every topic. And that's how you start to live this enlightenment that is meant. Okay, so she wants to say something about that from the personal wisdom cards. Okay, I feel this one. The solution from a problem or for a problem is mostly on another level than that in which the problem manifests itself. Translated from the Dutch. The solution of a problem will mostly be on another level than that which the problem manifested itself. When you still believe in darkness and light, you want to choose the light, you still don't understand that the solution is on another level than light and dark. It's on the level of the source of all of that. Other level. When you want to develop in your true spirituality that leads to being with your twin flame in union with the divine, you need to go to that source level, other level. It's not a level about good or bad or light or dark. It's not a level about sin or pleasure. It's about the source beyond that. It's another level. Than that in which the problem has manifested itself, in which your deeper question has manifested itself, your deeper longing has manifested itself, or your outright problem has manifested itself, or your block in your union has manifested itself. And through going to the source of this dichotomy, other layer, other level, that is the solution for whatever was happening in this light and dark world. Whatever was the block in this love and hate world. The solution will come from that other layer, other level. Angel cards. Oh. Take action. If you really want to do that and go that way, take action. Don't hang back. Don't think that connecting with Mary Magdalene or Jesus will do it for you. Yeah. You do your own inner work. You take your own action. Nobody can do it for you. Also not with so much prayer or so much penance. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody from the outside can make you have it. Mary Magdalene, together with Jesus, they exemplified what is possible. To resurrect the mind, which is the right kind of resurrection story to focus upon, according to Mary Magdalene. And therefore making your union come together and be present here. And here is here. Here is in heaven and on earth at the same time. It's the Fool here. So we got 3 cards from the Life Purpose deck. All right. Study. Yeah, study, research, educate to help you trust and clarity about a new kind of direction in your life, or mission, or purpose, or career. Because that's all there. your purpose, your mission, your career, your union, your twin flame union. And that's all the same. Your inner connection. Study what is necessary for you to have this inner connection. Change of career. You have to have this new future and career and love life future that you wished for. And that will give you the joy and abundance that you desire. Through taking everything in that is in this video, you will change direction. Traveling. It's a journey. Your journey will commence. People often think that their journey is already going, but they haven't reached that seed of that inner secret place so that it can grow towards union. What would be helpful is when you would understand that that is where the journey starts, and then it can grow that seed into the full union, and that is the union journey, the twin flame journey, if you will, the journey towards union, the journey towards enlightenment. Twin flame journey means that you can be with your twin flame and choose that to walk the rest of your spiritual journey also together with your true twin flame, instead of meeting them after the end of it. Mary of Magdalene says, this is a new reachable opportunity for people now, around the time of this video. That you certainly should take. And you're here because it's you that's going to answer that call. And we support that, is what Mary Magdalene says. She's now pointing me to the Egyptian cards. Which is like a deeper layer of this all or something. Oh, also culturally, historically, but I think she's going deeper a little bit in what this is all about. And the card is called Stargate. The cosmic portal to integrate higher consciousness. See the signs on your path as signals of the universe. A new, lighter way will become opened up for you. Step through this cosmic energetic gate. Okay, so we're at the cosmic gate. That is opening up for you now, through which you can go to this more related and connected and condensed reality in which you find your true self, in divine light, in the light of your union, in the light of who you are in your union. And this is a stargate, it's a portal that is in the now. And it is when you watch this video, and it is when you feel cold, and it is when you desire your true twin flame, and it is when you live around this year 2024 and feel cold. A cosmic doorway to a higher consciousness and integrated. Integrated is important because we're not going to float away. In this new reality that you can step into, you are grounding in truth. And that includes being on earth, grounding there, towards fullness, full bloom of grounding in truth, in this place, on the earth. And you only will know that you've integrated it and you've actually made use of this Stargate when you've stepped through it to such a degree that you can integrate it on earth. And that you become sobered up and normal, in a sense, human, rooted, grounded, accepting of the earth, not feeling like an alien, being in harmony with earth, which is maybe in a very different way than you ever thought before. Very well possible, but you are at home and in harmony with the earth. You are rooting here because you're here. That's why you're here, and you're not here to float away or to reject being from here. You are now here, so that's where you're supposed to be now. Don't reject that, because you never can make anything come true that is about truth and twin flame and abundance. Nothing of that will come true if you reject that. There's a certain cosmic place where Mary Magdalene comes from, with her union with Jesus and with her soul family, of the Christed soul family. They come from another place than I come from. It's really strange. But that's because we have different roles, different functions in universal teachership for the people. So they're connected to Venus. And I'm connected to Arcturus, which is another function connected to a cosmic gateway. It's another function. Their function is to exemplify by their life. My function is to teach in relation to them. guide people through the awareness of what that means to have them as exemplifiers. Okay. So the soul family card hit the floor. What does that mean? There it is again. It means that they came here on the earth for a reason. So this was a little bit of information, but it doesn't matter. They're here for a reason. They've fallen on the earth. That's how they can come to you. That's how they came to you. That's how they come to you now. That's how Mary Magdalene comes to you now. So that's the same for you. They're exemplaries. They are examples. That's what you should do too. You also fell on the earth. Your twin flame too. Your soul family too. Whomever of that are incarnated now as well, that you might meet on your journey as well, that you might become aware of on your journey as well. You have fallen on the earth, so to speak. So, there you go. Don't deny that. That's fully integrated in everything that we're talking about. If you can't accept that, no progress. All right, so now we're shuffling the classical tarot cards. What do you want me to talk about? All right. Change. Wheel of Fortune. Change. There was a sense that it came out like this as well. Don't hold back your change. It can be a change to the good direction, to a new chapter in your entire life. This will be a new chapter of your soul's development that will feel like, when you do it right and you truly enter it in harmonious twin flame union, it will feel to you as though you are living a new incarnation, because it is the ultimate incarnation of your eternal soul. And what you lived before will feel like a past life. And should you remember more literal past lives, that's also in the past now. Just like the life you lived earlier. Will be a new chapter that you live in the eternal realm. But you have to make it come true. It's not a fantasy, it's not an idea, it's not a philosophy. It's not a religion, it's not a spirituality. It just is, and all kinds of specialized philosophies and spiritualities and whatnot are only here because people need teachings to be able to move through their mud that they collected themselves, that they have to purify themselves of to reach this. And you can choose a certain teacher, teaching, that you feel like you can accept to make these steps that are necessary for you. Right, so the Divine Abundance cards. Oh, I see this one. Oh, this one. Non-duality. Let your authentic humanity shine forth while also bowing to the inner divine. You can become fluent at doing both. That's what we're talking about. At the end of the day, you just sit like this person is sitting in the mandala, which is the organization of your divine mind, which has a reflection in the organization of your human energy body. And you're sitting inside of that, seeing the patterns moving. By the way, it looks very much like this one. And this is how you learn your own lessons from your own patterns that appear in your mind and or in the reflection of that in your energy body. That's your path, and that's the most closest by spirituality in a form that you have. It's yourself. But for many people, it's still very, very helpful to have a teacher. And that teacher having a methodology, a philosophy, if you will, that can be very helpful. As long as it's a true teacher that has what you're looking for. Native American cards. Mary Magdalene. What do you want to say? Making signals with smoke. Card 30. That's what we all try to do as teachers. To signal to you. What do you need to do? Purification. To signal to you what to purify and how to do that. Before moving on, make sure your own motives are pure and your actions tempered with beneficial energy before you move into your new chapter of your life, inside your union, inside your harmonious union, state of being or state of consciousness. Purify yourself. With smoke, with smudge, through divine communications, knowing what that is and purifying it, executing it. And not only as an idea or as a tip or as coaching, but that is a necessity before you can enter that new place. That is the harmonious union, the harmonious twin flame union space. The union space. It's the only way. Purification, transformation. Out with the old and in with the new. It's the only way to get into that new place, the divine mind. You can't get there because you want it, or you believe it, or you have a philosophy about it, or a fantasy about it, or you pay enough, or you read enough books about it, No. It's because you've purified. And you've done what for you as a soul was needed as the entrance to this new chapter of your eternal life, which is the eternal life that is here for you now, that ends all chapters. That's your harmonious twin flame union. We've recently seen that we can make that come true with you, for you here. With a new harmonious union in our community. There's a video in which I announced that. And this is possible for you too. And apparently Mary Magdalene is going to support you too. Isn't that great? I love that for you. Is there more that she wants to say? Going back to the Mary Magdalene Oracle deck. So, oh, this is another big Christian theme. But it's also a general theme. But like immediately those Christian stories come to mind. Well, it's called, I'll translate it for you, you can already see it here. This is a symbol for the Holy Spirit. It's called Ascension. This is Dutch and I translate it for you. But I also needed to think about the word again from this word sometimes. You know, the translation machine in my head needs a couple seconds. The ascension. That's what this is. So in the story, what happens is this was the resurrection of the divine mind. This is a story of spiritual development. You resurrect your divine mind. Your twin flame will do that with you too. You come in that space, that union. And you also choose to be there together. Like Mary Magdalene and Jesus. And then you can live that mission, that teachership, reaching out, being the exemplary for others. When you've stepped into that teachership from the union space out. And your students will come to you, your clients will come to you through, they just know. Through the law of attraction, but also through divine communication. It will come to you. You can have your teachership. And pass the light on. Pass harmonious union on to your students. So that they will get what you have. Which is not only a compassionate movement to make, it's also necessary to maintain what you have and share what you have, which means that you can have it. And after that feels complete for you enough, there is this, maybe there could come a sense of a certain spiritual retiring, and your students can now enlighten their students and stuff, you know, it's going to be passed on. And you can ascend. And also, this entire movement is the ascension in its togetherness. This is also what you see in the story of Mary Magdalene and Jesus. This is the order. Yeah. Do you need me to speak about more things? No. Thank you so much for receiving this together with me. I hope this helps. Be assured that Mary Magdalene will be here to help you too. Thank you for tuning in. Manifest creativity. Creator of us all, be with me. When I open to connect with myself, when I uncover the creative source to retrieve her, the way you have placed it inside of me, and the way in which the exact same source moves and guides you as well. O divine Creator, make that I will be receptive to your voice, and lead me to the rhythm of your breath, so that I will find the movement that leads me, find words for it, and can experience the being of them openly. Thank you for the abundance that is received in this moment. Thank you for the power that makes that I receive this moment. In this atmosphere, you are very welcome to come enjoy our beautiful small opportunities, which are plenty in our Facebook community. It's called Your Abundance, and you would be very welcome to come in this living room of us to practice the central twin flame healing tool called Key, K-E-Y. You can download documents about it. You can find information about it under the hashtag Key. Put it in the search bar and press enter. You can present us with your own posts how your practice of doing this crucial twin flame tool is working out for you on a daily basis, and get support. But also we have a 4-event online live program there every month, in which I am available for you, just like that, to meet, get to know each other, and every one of the 4 monthly events has their own theme. One is to learn that key twin flame inner work much better than you might already do. And another one is talking about your mission. We also have a Q&A as one of the 4, and we read a little bit in the A Course in Miracles book every month as well, because your consciousness attuned to the source of creation better is what makes your twin flame come into your life much more easy. And that attunement of your consciousness is supported through that book. These are some of the things that you can do in our Facebook group, Your Abundance. And it's just available for you, this space for you to learn and share. Another thing is that from the group out, you can book small appointments with me that are for a small fee. They're called key sessions, and I can guide you through your inner work personally. Also, we could just talk about anything you need my personal support for, right? Another beautiful thing in the Facebook group, exclusively for Facebook group members, just like the key session is the Divine Love reading. This reading report of many pages long gives you all the clues channeled from the divine for specifically you that you need to know to go to harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state it is all about, and from which your physical being together with your true twin flame is being birthed safely and guaranteed. At this time, you are also invited, if that feels for you, to come in for a big session. It's a 2-hour long, plus 20 minutes up front, and more services up front, plus afterwards an extra healing and extra information and more extra stuff session that is called Twin Flame Reset. In this reset, you will be transformed to the right state of energy and consciousness to go to your harmonious union state of being, to come into 3D twin flame union as quickly as can, as smooth as can. So give yourself that subtle realignment, reset of your inner space, so that you can go to the harmonious twin flame union space soon and with ease. That's why I developed this service. It's a tremendously beautiful opportunity that is here for you now. So if you want to give yourself the ultimate push forward, book yours now. You'll find the information about the webpage, where that is published below. Do you want to go to the brilliance of your harmonious twin flame union and manifest your mission business and be a candidate in that to become a creation coach helping other twin flame unions in the methodology that I provide as well? Then I have something for you. In 2024, I'm looking for one candidate that talks with me if they are the person fit to receive a 6-month closely working together with me, with 6 big sessions and 12 smaller in-between sessions, to get passed on from me to you everything that I stand for, or at least a huge chunk in coaching geared towards you. Then you are ready for the Twin Flame Brilliance package. And if you feel that that is for you, working with me closely in 2024, getting everything down that you may need, the Twin Flame Reset, the initiations, the mission business, finding out what it is and starting to build it, the becoming a candidate to be a real creation Twin Flame coach with me, with opportunity to help clients. If you think that's for you, then I invite you to come talk with me. And below, you'll find contact information of me, one way or another that seems fit to you. Contact me and I will provide you with the information, how we can find out if it's you. I only look for one person that is going to be that in 2024. So now we've talked about all these opportunities for you in 2024. I actually want you to know more about if you can reach your harmonious union in this lifetime. And I do have a beautiful video about that in which you pick your pile, your section of your card reading. And I will send you there right now here in this video that I will put here in a couple of seconds. I will see you there. Love from Petra.